Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another brand new episode of System Link, our combination podcast and game stream featuring, as always, my lovely co-host, Mike Hazelton from the Xbox Guide. Mike, good evening. We're both wrangling children tonight, so we had a slightly later start. How are we doing? Are the sprogs in bed? Have we kind of got them now all sorted, wrapped up?
For the time being, yeah. Sorry, my bad tonight, really, but yeah, just one of those.
Always is, and it's always very much high stakes to whether they stay that way, certainly with mine as well.
We'll
Joys
see.
of the toddlers. So tonight we've got a few different bits and pieces to unpack in our sort of quickfire headlines, and then this evening we will be playing and discussing our live impressions of FragPunk. We dived into the beta earlier this week, and I think it's fair to say we've got a bit of a mixed feelings on some aspects to it. I think mechanically it's great. Save it. Mechanically it's great, but some elements I think that could perhaps do with a bit of polishing and a bit of tweaking. We'll get to that later this evening. But first, we're going to get to our headlines. The big one, actually, that came in the other day, which was very interesting to see the timing of this, given that the Xbox have just pulled the £1 deal, the trial for you to give Game Pass games a go, was that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and I believe Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone as well are now going to be cloud-enabled for Xbox Game Pass. This was a really curious thing for me, given that as part of the extremely litigious Activision Blizzard deal, which obviously, you know, one of the settlement aspects of that to satisfy the CMA was that Ubisoft was sold the cloud rights to Black Ops 6. And my understanding was that that was an exclusive arrangement with them. Now, is it a case of them sort of in a weird circular way leasing it back to Microsoft to allow this? Because all I'm seeing is Game Pass branding. I'm seeing cloud streaming Xbox Game Pass Ultimate on those sort of, you know, the showing the tablet and the phone and the controller with Black Ops 6 branding. My understanding was that they weren't going to be allowed to do this, but seems to be that natively within the sub, they're offering that option to people. It's a strange one, this one.
Yeah, so I think we talked about this. I don't know if it was on the show. You and I, like, it occurred to me that because for a long time we'd said the perfect thing for them to do with Black Ops is to like advertise. You don't need a console. You can just play it on the cloud. Buy the Fire Stick for 30 quid or whatever, and then, you know, get Ultimate for a pound trial, which obviously you can't do at the moment. But the point was you can get entry into Black Ops really cheaply. Part of that was us hoping that they made it current gen only, and then kind of forced people's hands to sign up. But then, yeah, it occurred to us a few weeks ago that they can't do that because Ubisoft had the cloud rights. But Crash is on the cloud. They did a deal with Ubisoft to make it so you can play Crash Bandicoot on the cloud. So it's the same thing. I imagine they're paying Ubisoft weirdly to cloud stream their own games. But I think Ubisoft is just literally kind of the license holder. So I don't think it's that Ubisoft would ever, you know, particularly favor certain services over others. They would just be putting some sort of restriction in place so that Microsoft can't just put all the Activision games on the cloud. So it's trying to put some sort of barrier in place so that doesn't happen. But it's obviously quite a late announcement, but quite a big announcement. It'll be interesting to see how well they play on the cloud.
Yeah, that's going to be very. I wish there was an easy way for us to test that live on something like this. You know, I'd love to be able to do that through my phone and show that, but very tricky when you're streaming something to then factor in the latency that you're already playing through the cloud. There, that's obviously that'll be one for Digital Foundry to unpack for us. But it is nice to see them perhaps using the cloud as the way to advertise Game Pass. You know, we'd speculated prior to Gamescom when Black Ops showed up, would there be sort of Game Pass branding at the end of the trailer, and there wasn't at the time. We didn't see any mention of it other than the fact that it was just the launch trailer and the date. Then subsequent to that, we then have seen adverts. I've seen a bunch of social media posts advertising with Call of Duty branding all over it, advertising PC Game Pass, for instance. So they're sort of pushing that. I saw earlier today they just announced one of the console wraps for Series X, and one of the Design Lab controllers as well is using a sort of Black Ops 6 template. This is the stuff I was hoping to see. I do think the missing piece of the puzzle is still a bundle, a console bundle that throws in 12 months of Game Pass and maybe a copy of Black Ops 6 in there. Obviously, if it's Game Pass, it's in there included. They need something, I think, to just sweeten that pot.
I think that needed to be when they forced current gen only on it. I think the problem is there's still no incentive for people to do that. because you're going to have a console that can play Black Ops 6 already. It was people would have a choice between buying a PS5 for 400 quid or a Fire Stick for
precisely
30 quid.
Yeah, or a Samsung TV.
But at the moment,
yeah.
there's the easy choice is just to stay where you are.
Yes. Well, we've seen that time and again. The platform holders struggling to get people to migrate to next gen. You know, the PlayStation has sold well, Xbox hasn't, but the numbers are almost sort of, they're not growing particularly relative to last gen in terms of speed of uptake. People aren't converting as they once did. You know, certainly from the PS3 to 4 jump, that era, comparatively to now, we're just not seeing that trend. So actually, on paper, it makes sense for them to go after that different market. It's just whether that actually translates to more subs. It's that age-old question, isn't it? Is that, will this move the needle? Will it prove viability? Because I can't think of many other games that are comparable to Black Ops 6 in terms of audience scope and potential engagement versus, say, the revenue that would be lost from traditional sales. So it'll be very interesting to see then, I've been waiting for this. This is going to be a real telling moment, given also their strategy with things like indie, having only that 3-month exclusivity window. Will this meaningfully move the needle in terms of Game Pass subs? Will people actually jump in?
Do you think they're going to tell us, though?
They'll tell us if it wins. They'll be shouting it from the rooftops if it's a huge. Oh,
I don't know either way.
Yeah, no. Well, because they.
Well, the problem is, they may give us Black Ops sales. If they give us Black Ops sales, I don't think they can give us Game Pass increase as a metric as well, because then you can start saying, well, Black Ops sold X amount, the Game Pass only went up by this amount, which means you basically lost this number of sales because all those people had Game Pass already. So I don't know. People will start really digging into it.
Well, we've seen your value articles, which, by the way, just shout out to that for a minute. I do want to take a second. It's one of your first big original deep dives you've done on the Xbox guide since launching, which was comparing. We haven't talked about this on stream at all. Comparing the different tiers, right, at their value proposition, especially now that they've got standard and some games have been removed from that. Day one releases again not guaranteed. There, it was a really interesting piece, and I saw actually you did a follow-up article, didn't you, breaking down some of the elements from that. So please do check that out.
We can't be bothered to read it.
Well, it's a great way to make it accessible, I guess, which is lovely. So if you are interested in sort of checking out some more of the data-driven aspects of sub-services, their value proposition and how that all works, please jump onto the xboxguide.com. Mike's doing some really great coverage over there, so please do check that out. Also, Plug Socket Big Manny, good evening. Good to see you both. Thank you for jumping into chat. I want to just do a quick shout-out, actually, before we just carry on with our headlines. Just talking about sales. Saw this the other day. No, not the other day. What am I saying? About an hour ago, actually, before we went live, Hazelight announced their current player or sales. Sorry, I want to be really, really clear on that because of the friend pass thing. This is copies sold of It Takes Two, a platformer you and I absolutely adored. 20 million sales they have reached, which is amazing. That's 40 million players because it's co-op only, and that's sales. It's not included in a subservice outside of EA Play. That is an incredible achievement for a studio that's relatively modest. I don't think Hazelight are by any means a AAA studio. That's an incredible, must have shattered any of their targets that they were expecting to hit with that. I'd be interested to see how that compared with A Way Out, because I don't think that reached those kind of numbers.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Huge success for Joseph Fares and that team, and that's just so exciting to see what they do next. I know that we didn't have this in our original plan, but we were discussing this off air. The Hitman developers, IO Interactive, have resurfaced recently. There was a report of them talking about their James Bond game, potential for it to develop into a trilogy, them leveraging all of the work they've done on Hitman and how brilliant that World of Assassination trilogy was. It's not an insider scoop because I'm not one of those, but I've just got a little tingly feeling that we might be seeing a little something at the Game Awards at the end of the year. They're talking about it, and they've been radio silent forever. I just feel like if you're going to start talking about it now to Eurogamer of all places, giving Mario Party Jamboree 2, the bastards, I do think that we're on the cusp of seeing something from the James Bond game, which would be really cool. Actually, I've quietly had my eye on that, and I'm very excited to see what they do with that. With their first, by the way, I should say, IO Interactive's first ever licensed title. They've only ever made original IP or sequels before, never a licensed existing IP. So very interested to see.
Third person, or is that not confirmed yet?
Not confirmed. Not confirmed.
Okay.
I would imagine
Third person, I'll struggle, but
Is that just a borderline preference thing?
it's a bot. No, it's a Bond game. I don't like third person Bond games.
We've been spoiled by Nightfire, haven't we? In GoldenEye, and but we can't.
I feel like you haven't minded when they've gone third person. It's only happened a couple of times.
You mean the best one ever made, Everything or Nothing? You know what I mean? The greatest experience I ever had on the GameCube.
You were fighting hard.
Chef's kiss.
To support that game.
Chef's kiss. They got Pierce Brosnan. They got Judi Dench. That's all I'm saying.
Just on It Takes Two.
Yeah.
This is an article I'll be doing at some point. Looking at Game Pass, because it's obviously on EA Play. It's if not the highest rated, it's the second highest rated Game Pass game by Metacritic score and user score, and they never match up. It's literally the only game where the user score matches the critic score, so it's really
amazing,
quite something, and it never gets talked about in that sense.
No,
I was watching Gaz Septic Source's show a couple of weeks back about Astrobot, and he was saying he thinks that It Takes Two should have had the same sort of scores that Astrobot has been getting, like 96, 94, whatever. Which for me is a I haven't played Astrobot, but for me, It Takes Two should have been up there. It was such a great game. I'm not saying Astrobot necessarily shouldn't have, but It Takes Two should have been up there.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be a case of having to sort of like lower one to match the other. I think it's actually more about elevating It Takes Two up, given what they achieved with that title. So much originality. I mean, I feel like just every aspect of that game, that would be something I'd love to revisit, actually. Every aspect of that game just surprised me at every turn. It was a game of surprises, and I just think that's such a cool thing, especially in a platformer when there's so many. It's been a bit of a resurgence.
I wonder, maybe they're talking about that now because of the Game Awards coming up.
Oh, so we both got a little...
See how many times we can shoehorn
a little guess in there. But then that's what we do. We hold ourselves to account by putting it on stream, so we can check in with that. I need to do like a bets tracker for us.
I know. What was the last one? That was bad. Whatever it was bad.
Because we locked it in.
Massively overcommitted to something.
That's right.
I can't remember what it was.
We locked that in live on air, and I can't remember what that was. But let's start that tonight. We'll start officially the Burly Bird Media cross Xbox Guide bets tracker. And right now we've got 2 locked in for the Game Awards at the end of it. Are you saying, because again, sanctity of the bet, are you saying...
Yeah, it's got to be there. It's got to be there.
Because he does fuck the Oscars and all that stuff. Like, he's loving that. So he's at the Game Awards. He's obviously got a great relationship with Jeff Keighley. So, yes, let's lock it in. Let's say we see the James Bond teaser, beyond just the logo tease we've already got, but something for the James Bond game, and then... It Takes Two sequel or something I think something brand new, isn't it? They seem to be doing new IP. So well there you go. Let's really confirm in your bet. It Takes Two.
No, I don't think he's that sort of guy. Okay. I don't think he'd do that.
He's going something new.
Yeah.
Okay, let's lock it in. Also, just had a thought when you mentioned about first person for James Bond. Not guaranteed to be third person, even though obviously the obvious guess would be third person given Hitman. But they did a lot of work and really supported the VR modes for Hitman on PSVR and 1 and 2. So there is precedent for them working on first person adaptions for those titles, and they maintained all of like the physical stuff obviously that you'd expect in VR, all of the executions and moves, etc. So they have done a lot of work adapting that game for a first person perspective. Could be maybe the groundwork for us seeing a first-person interpretation.
There's a for me there's a danger that it will feel like Hitman.
Yeah.
If it's third person, and I think that's a very realistic issue. With that team making it. Personally, if I was them, I would look to distance that by making it first person, and that would mean I will like it a lot more. But
I'm gonna throw in a bet. I'm gonna throw in a bet right now. I'm gonna keep this saucy. You can toggle. First person default, third person option. You can toggle it. Because I think there was first person, I'm pretty sure there's first person aiming in Hitman. Certainly when you're aiming down the scopes, you don't always have to stay in third person for that. So again, there's precedent for it. So there you go. So we need to make sure I don't forget that. So in fact, I'm gonna just live note that really quickly.
We definitely need to go back to the last show and see what that one was, because it was as soon as I committed to it, I thought I shouldn't have done that, but I don't know what it was.
Didn't feel good straight away.
A bit like you saying you weren't going to get PS5 Pro.
Well, and how the times change, baby. Shout out to Misha, my friend Misha, who runs Hackney Youth in East London. She bought my PS5. She bought it. So that's why I'm not going to CEX anymore, baby. I'm not trading in. I sold that to a friend, so that's given me my couple £100 off the PS5 Pro, which is what I was looking for. Hazelight at the Game Awards, and then James Bond reveals itself. And I will also put Hazelight was your bet, right?
I suppose so, but I mean, it's fine for us just to agree on something we think.
That's correct.
You
I
don't
just
have
think
to
it, but
arbitrarily disagree.
that's yeah. I suppose in the instance that they do show up, I want to make sure you get bet kudos for that to make sure that that is
Well, okay.
locked in.
I think you have said it. I think we've both agreed in the past that we think it's going to be there.
Listen, we've both
So
got a
don't-
bet each. I want to make sure that there's a
Hey,
score
all right,
system. All right,
all right.
let's do this. We're gonna make
I'm
sure.
sure I can think of one by the end of the show for something else we're talking about.
Absolutely. So, moving on to our next headline, we have obviously the Game Pass announcement for the second half of October. Looking pretty healthy, actually. I was expecting it to be just Black Ops. StarCraft on PC is a big ad. Those legacy titles is a really good win. And there was a bit of a left field one. I saw South Park, The Fractured Butthole was in there. A very old title, but really cool to see that added to Game Pass. I possibly, yeah. What you mean? It might have reappeared.
One of them definitely. I don't know if it was that one or the other one that was on before. But so they kind of did the thing that they do where they give you the nice graphic, and I know for a fact Donut County and Ashen have been on before.
And Dead Island 2 is already on console, so that's just been
Dead
added to
Island
PC,
is already
isn't it?
on. Yeah. StarCraft was obviously already announced and is November anyway.
Yes.
So it's kind of the only new game other than Black Ops is MechWarrior 5, which is a day one. And if you like that sort of thing, I should think it's quite a big deal. Fair enough with Black Ops coming to Game Pass. It's, you wouldn't handpick your new release to come into Game Pass at the same time as Black Ops, I don't think. So I was surprised they've even got MechWarrior. It's a week early though, so I think it's about as good as we can expect.
Yeah, given the Call of Duty focus, and obviously the big push there
yeah.
as well is mentioning Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone being added into the cloud. So let me just disable some notifications because that is going to become a huge distraction.
Do you like mech games? Have you ever played a proper mech game other than Titanfall?
I haven't, other than Titanfall, and I think I might have a weird rash against them. I don't know if I have.
That's what I thought.
Which, I mean, I've long since gotten over my medieval rash. That was a long-standing thing where I just didn't like anything that vaguely
having
resembled...
one medieval game.
Yeah, like I just anything that looked like Mora, Skywind, Oblivion, I just didn't have any interest automatically, which is absurd because there've been numerous titles, TV shows, movies that I've watched and enjoyed that completely put that to bed. But I definitely don't like Armored Core. Never really excited me. I saw that obviously people went mental for that because it was From Software. No, I don't really have much of a history with mech games. I'm trying to think of something I've played other than Titanfall that would have been in any way vaguely interesting. I might have played a demo of a couple of those earlier titles, but yeah, not one that tends to scream at me. I think I liked Titanfall so much because of the option to go between pilot.
Yeah, I'm the same. I generally I don't like it in games. Like it put me off Fallout having the mech, but again, it's optional in Fallout generally.
Yeah.
But games that kind of put you in you're fighting on foot and there's like a boss battle that you do in a mech, so I don't enjoy that generally. So yeah. But I know they do have quite a big audience.
Do. And that's
again in Asia,
Game Pass.
Yeah,
for sure. Something that we saw earlier today. I don't actually know it wasn't today. We were discussing it today, but I think it might get my timelines all messed up. Splinter Cell was given an update recently, mentioning that it is in fact on track, rumored to be using the Snowdrop engine rather than Unreal Engine. Snowdrop being their engine that powers The Division and X-Defiant. It's their proprietary engine that Ubisoft Massive have championed. Apparently it's on track. It's obviously been very quiet. We haven't seen anything. It's a full remake of the original game. It's not a remaster. It's a ground-up remake. Similar to some of the Blue Point stuff, like with Demon Souls, etc. But it's supposedly, if rumours are to be believed, it is going okay, it's on track, and targeting a 2026 release, which puts it possibly, I think, with a potential delay, in the realms of a cross-gen release, depending on when Xbox pulled the trigger and what that next gen looks like from PlayStation as well. I I have a real affinity for this series. I've always loved the Splinter Cell games and played every single one and finished them all. Very excited when they announced that they were going to revisit this. There was always a bit of a tinge of disappointment for me that it wasn't a sequel to oh god, Blacklist. There we go. It wasn't a sequel to Blacklist, obviously the most recent title, but if it sparks some kind of renewed interest in that series, much like, you know, seeing the 20th anniversary edition of Beyond Good and Evil, hoping very much that, you know, they say as much, that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still very much in development, getting more and more, becoming more and more like vaporware every time I bring it up, but there's hope, I think, for Splinter Cell to actually come back and be relevant again. I remember it was sort of at its height and when it was the PC Xbox exclusive with Conviction, so it's an interesting spot. I always sort of because of my general distaste of rumours, I find I have to kind of take this kind of stuff with a pinch of salt. But I hope very much that that report, of all things, turns out to be true, that it is on track. They're looking at it coming out in the next 2 years. I just, hope we see it. Hope we see it sooner rather than later, and it's not the Prince of Persia remake situation where they've had to completely go back to the drawing board. Any interest in the series, or is it something you kind of just generally haven't been into?
Yeah, not for me. I don't like stealth games. I just don't have the patience, or generally find them frustrating. Although certain Metal Gear Solid games, I quite like. So, I think it's one of those rumors where if it's not coming out by 2026, like what's going on? Like it's either in development hell and is going to be cancelled, or it's on track really. So probably not a massive leap for someone to get information on this. I'm a bit surprised it's actually taken them this long to just remake a game. I know it's the length of time between the games. It's going to be hopefully a complete remake, but still taking a fair old time. So it'll be interesting to see how it lands. And I also think Ubisoft could really benefit from, given their stock price is going through the floor and things, they benefit from having a showcase and just telling us give us something from Splinter Cell, something from Beyond Good and Evil. Because if it is going okay, they must have something they could show.
A minute and a half teaser, you know.
I know we always say, like, don't show stuff before it's ready. Don't show stuff that's coming 3 years down the line. But when your company's about to get bought out because you're performing so badly, like, just show some stuff. Give people some hope.
Give something to reassure your shareholders.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, improve your stock price. There's that thing as well, I think, where they've squandered opportunities to actually address those concerns. When you look at their previous showcase during the last Summer Games Fest, it was just essentially a series of DLC updates for games that could have been press releases. You know, there really wasn't... It felt like they didn't have anything substantial behind them, even though they had Assassin's Creed Shadows in the wings. Even though Beyond Good and Evil's in development, Prince of Persia's in development, Splinter Cell's in development. All these games that aren't exactly new titles, they've been cooking for a while. Much like we had similar frustrations with Microsoft with Perfect Dark, State of Decay. Again, possibly an argument to say they were announced too early. I think that's fair. You know, when you then contrast that with Bethesda, who tend to have that quite short turnaround from announcement to release, it definitely was, in that case, I think, announced too early. But Ubisoft must have something from these games to show. And even though Resurgence didn't pan out for them, Division 3's been confirmed. That's going to be an iterative sequel. Again, surely, if they're all using the same engine, we can't just be relying on X-Defiant season updates for them to carry themselves forward. And obviously Skull and Bones didn't land as they wanted. So they've got to have something. And I think if they're going to have any kind of appearance at the Game Awards or their own showcase, now's the time to show their hand, especially when that buyout they're circling. Vultures are circling with them.
Well, I tell you, I wouldn't have faith in Beyond Good and Evil surviving if they get bought out.
I agree.
Because that's like a labour of love.
Yes.
For Ubisoft.
Who've already lost.
They get bought.
And they've lost 2 creative directors. One because of a harassment scandal. Another because he passed. He passed away. He was only 40-something. So that team has been through the ringer. And it's a project of enormous scope that I think, again, was shown too early. So they're in a very, very strange spot. Shadows has got to land. That delay was smart. I really do think that was a smart thing for them to do.
What's next main Ubisoft game after Shadows? Do we know? Is there anything been announced?
Good question.
Or we just be making assumptions?
Yeah. Oh, man. man, yeah, good point.
I'm surprised they keep making the crew games. To be honest, they never seem to do that well, and yeah, they keep
Yeah,
loads of them.
and yet we see time and again, For Honor, Rainbow Six Siege, Ghost Recon, their post-launch support is one of the best in the business. If you buy into their games and love them, there is a huge amount there for you. They look after those player bases. Siege had a very middling launch, and it's just
Yeah,
stratospheric. You
we
know.
need a single player Rainbow Six game though,
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. That's
or a campaign based Rainbow
yeah,
Six
yeah.
game.
And they can't just keep making the same games with a different franchise on them. There has to be that differentiation. So no, I don't know. I think it would be assumptions as to what would be coming
But
next.
this is what kind of what I'm saying. I know we're getting off track, but if you're an investor and Shadows fails or doesn't perform, then that's like you're thinking, they haven't shown anything, so what's coming?
Exactly. Yeah, and the fact is, you'd think with Splinter Cell being such an established brand, and the fact that this has been cooking for a while, it's not like they. I know it's a ground-up remake, but they had a template there. They had mechanics and they had a storyline written, so which you would, reasonably think would be sort of stuck to.
Yeah, well, we talked about Silent Hill 2 last week.
Yeah.
Which is the same kind of thing, remade from the ground up, also quite linear, well, very linear. And they hammered that out relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long this has been in development. It feels like a while.
At least I want to say at least 3 years, at least.
Yeah. I mean, 26, I guess, isn't. We don't know what the size of the team is, but if there's like 100 people working on it, that's too long for a remake of a game where you've got the story, you've got I assume they'd re-record the audio and stuff, but still, you're not having to go out and research things, send teams around the world looking at locations
exactly.
and all these different things. So
yeah, and by the way, you don't get Michael Ironside to do the voice of Sam Fisher, then.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Enough. I mean, looking at that makes because I do remember it brings back memories of the original Xbox. Maybe I would try it.
High stakes.
I think I'd find it easier to try it with the old graphics. The problem is I'll find it it'll put me on edge if it's too realistic.
Yeah, too intense. There's too much going on.
Exactly.
Another sort of nothing really confirmed here, and it was actually I saw a producer sort of categorically deny what's happening with X-Defiant, but there was a big rumor going around the internet that season 4 of X-Defiant was going to be that it was going to be plug pulled and potentially taken
People
offline.
can't wait for it to fail.
Yeah,
and this is actually one that we didn't include when we were talking about Ubisoft just then, but the stuff the team have come out with, I think, gives me confidence, but it's hard to tell if they're just
towing a line,
making things up.
Yeah,
because they said like we want to fix the game before we start marketing it properly. The reason the player numbers are low is because we haven't been marketing it, which makes a lot of sense. But it's like, is that the case? I think it probably is, because it doesn't make sense for Ubisoft to keep the game running just to keep people happy. If they think it's going to fail, I think the state they're in, they would just get rid of it.
Yeah, I agree. That to me, it smacks of like Rainbow Six Siege or For Honor, where they're like, we're going to fix this, we're going to improve it. And even though I think it does suffer from many of the problems that we've seen other live service games either not hit at all, Concord immediately jumps to mind, I think it suffers from a problem of being really derivative. If fundamentally it's still a good experience, and there's something there that they feel that it's worth investing in, much like they have with their other titles. Even Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which was not well received critically or by players initially, it's in year 2 of its content. So if they see something there that's worth keeping, I believe that Ubisoft would, because there is definitely precedent for them supporting their titles. I don't know if X-Defiant is the right bet, though. I still think that was
it was better than Concord, though, wasn't
it? Mechanically,
gameplay wise,
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't play Concord, but I could tell looking at Concord that it wasn't going to be as fun to play as X-Defiant.
Yeah, X-Defiant.
If you like sweaty COD shooters, I think it's... maybe you've got a thing about COD, or you've been banned from COD because you're a cheat or something.
Go cheat somewhere else.
X-Defiant.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think...
There's no harm in... I don't think there's any harm in having 2 very, very similar games running at the same time. It's when you get more than 2 that it's a problem.
And
Um,
obviously Concord had that
and
massive problem, didn't it? There was so much competition in that space. This is where I think there was room. I think there was space for XDefiant. I actually think that many of its problems, and I don't know how solvable this would be, is that actually I don't think it sort of looked or ran particularly well
yeah,
performance-wise. And given that it was using that same Snowdrop engine, I was expecting a lot more from it. I
teams
hope,
really
yeah, I hope to see it flourish if it can find a new audience.
teams really seem to be struggling with 60 frames, don't they?
Yeah, and the
I know
compromises that
people
need
have
to be
talked about
made.
it in relation to Unreal, but we'll talk about FragPunk later.
Mm.
But just the visual sacrifice that people seem to be having to make on games to get them to run at 60 is kind
With
of
Unreal
crazy.
Engine 5 as well, but then there's so much variance. I really struggle with Immortals of Avium. I remember a Digital Foundry article saying some of the resolution was like sub 1080p to get it to
Yeah.
run at 60 in its performance mode. And then you've got games like the Finals with live synchronized destruction happening. I don't think, Immortals of Avium and the Finals are two massively different team sizes. They're not sort of, one massively backed over the other. It just is really interesting, isn't it? That I think I've said this actually. I hope I've said this on air before, but I definitely have said this in discussions we've had offline. I think Unreal Engine 5 arrived a generation early, a console generation early. I don't think the current hardware, maybe the Pro, but I think the current console hardware is really creaking with Unreal Engine 5, and we kind of need next gen to hit before we really start seeing it being used to its fullest.
Yeah, we definitely talked last week about Unreal Engine will be optimized, it will be improved over time, and obviously developers will get better at working with it over time. Um, and they don't have to use it. They've made a choice to use Unreal Engine 5, and in certain cases, like with Hellblade 2, they started again basically with a new engine. Well, it's not like Unreal are forcing it on people, so that generally teams have made a choice to sacrifice performance for quality. But XDefiant's cross-gen, I think. Maybe it's a case of they're struggling when they have to hit 60 on last-gen consoles, which I can understand.
Saying that though, I was definitively agreeing with you there, but let me do a quick live fact check.
I remember it coming up before, but I can't remember what the outcome was. I mean, if it's not on last gen, it looks really bad.
You know what? It's not.
Okay, fair. Which is interesting because I think if you want a game to compete with COD, and COD is still on definitely still on last gen, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You're in trouble if you're limiting your player base that much.
Exactly.
So it's an interesting one.
Yeah.
But something just from that video, just quickly, some of the guns look really crazy in the kind of content that's followed, which I think is good from my perspective because anything they can do to differentiate from COD is good. I prefer COD to go more military shooter in terms of the outfits and the guns and stuff, and for something like XDefiant to differentiate itself with some crazy stuff and bunny hats and all that.
I find just because of the setting, I find often the Black Ops games are the ones that tend to be a little bit more grounded in their campaigns because often they tend to deal with sort of alternate history, and their settings necessitate those guns to be something a bit more grounded, a bit more recognizable. And obviously zombies is insane, but the sort of campaign and multiplayer tends to lean that way anyway, so I've always lent towards the Black Ops titles for that same reason, I think. And if XDefiant has struggled perhaps to carve an identity for itself, anything it can do to sort of maybe lean into the different factions that they have, that they represent, from Far Cry and Splinter Cell and Watch Dogs, I think leaning into that is actually the smarter play, making it a little bit more unhinged, a bit wackier, I think would be a better approach for them. So looking ahead, obviously now we've got, I believe this is tomorrow, isn't it? The Xbox Partner Preview. Is that right? Have I made that up?
Oh, good question. I should know that, shouldn't I?
I think
I think it is tomorrow. Yeah,
I think it's tomorrow. Xbox announcing this kind of out of the blue. It kind of didn't, off the back of, we only had TGS just recently. A third-party showcase. A nice little show of support from third parties where we've had quite a few high-profile games. Not high-profile in the sense of like massive AAAs, but we had quite a few high-profile stories of games skipping Xbox for various reasons. We had that great discussion, didn't we, where that developer called them out and then they've now got that game being, but I forget what the title was. It was an indie title. that's now being published on Xbox after
Oh yeah,
they were languishing for months, apparently, weren't they, where they didn't. I think the nature of our discussion there was we were talking about how it's sort of they're airing the dirty laundry a little bit on social media, which is a bit,
I wasn't a fan of it. It was quite unprofessional,
right,
in my opinion.
So nice to see them actually then push this partner showcase. Headline feature for me, we're going to get a gameplay reveal of Alan Wake 2, the Lake House DLC. Much like the first game when they released the DLC for the original Alan Wake, the first DLC pack for this second title and this next expansion, clearly for people that are fans, it's a Control tie-in as well. So you might be tapping into that audience a little bit. People that maybe weren't as familiar with the fact that Alan Wake 2 and Control are now part of the Remedy connected universe, which is definitely for a you're satiating your audience, even even if it is a niche audience, you are satisfying them. But it's another way to get that game being talked about. As we always say before, expansions and DLC are a great way to get games back into the news cycle. And I cannot wait for this. This was my GOTY last year, and they deliberately made the first DLC a little bit more sort of tongue-in-cheek and a bit more throwaway. And I think it worked. It fit really nicely with Alan Wake and what they were doing with the story there. It was very meta and very self-aware. This looks like a real return to the survival horror Resident Evil type camera that they pushed in Alan Wake 2, and exactly what I'd want from a sort of Control Alan Wake crossover, because that's what it is fundamentally. It's tying in with both of those stories, with Control 2 being the next on their slate, other than the Max Payne remakes. So we had this before. Control 1 had an Alan Wake DLC that set up the second game. So I think they're returning the favour with this one now, setting up Control 2.
And when is the DLC out?
I believe it's due this year. I believe it's due
So I wanted to get your opinion on this. You it might be a bit out there. At these partner events, especially when they announced, or they kind of talked about the stuff that would be shown, which I think was basically this DLC and is it like a Dragon or a Yakuza
something like
game.
that. Yep.
Were the only ones that they called out. Normally they lean quite heavily. We need to stop saying lean, but they lean quite heavily into
I
Game
stopped saying
Pass.
leverage. It's okay.
Is there any chance that Alan Wake 2 comes into Game Pass with the expectation that people then have to get the DLC or upgrade to the deluxe or whatever the
Interesting
mechanic is?
Well, we're getting a physical release of Alan Wake 2 because they've partnered with... Shit, I've forgotten the developer or the publisher, sorry. I'm going to live fact check that because that will be relevant to this. They have... Because they originally released with Epic. Epic co-published the game, digital only.
It just seems... So just while you're looking at that, it seems weird to me that it would... Who other than Remedy, who is it benefiting to have it? Is it really benefiting Xbox to have it at this event?
Well,
other than maybe helping build some bridges.
Yeah, unless there's a deal cooking, I suppose that's the benefit to them.
Yeah, exactly. It could be a deal for the future. So my bet was going to be, you can write it down, was that Alan Wake 2 will come to Game Pass at some point. I just don't think there's reason for them to do this
otherwise. Do you think maybe we get Alan Wake remastered on Game Pass first? A lower stakes release.
Is that coming? I didn't know.
It's that is out. That Alan Wake remastered for the first one has been out. That was out last year. It was before Alan Wake 2. Okay. What I was meaning was, do we get a Game Pass release of that, the remastered first game, as a way of sort of... Yeah. And then because they've got the physical release coming, they don't want to cannibalize those sales straight away. It's actually under Epic, because I didn't realize that. So Epic Games are going to be publishing it. It was Annapurna, I think they've partnered on now for Control 2 and one of their next titles. So, that's right, because they sold the TV and film rights as part of the deal, and then they're co-financing the game for them. They're co-financing the sequel. So, yeah, I could see... I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet that we get some kind of Alan Wake-related Game Pass announcement.
Well, I will say Alan Wake 2. I don't need to water it down.
I'll say remastered.
Okay. Because Control was on Game Pass. I don't think it is at the moment, but it was on for a while.
Still is.
Is it?
I believe, yeah.
So the possibility is that they're they're doing this, like you said, because it's control related or control tie-in, and they know the Game Pass audience has probably played Control, so it's kind of a good one to show, which is probably enough of a reason to do it. But I just, I am of the impression that Alan Wake 2 sales will basically have flatlined. Obviously, the physical release will have an impact, but I don't think it will have a massive impact. But put it in, depending on when the DLC comes out, if they were to put it into Game Pass, I think potentially, considering that you might get some Control people buying Alan Wake 2 for the first time when that DLC comes
because
out,
of the tie-in,
maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense to do it.
Or if it's a case of you get the standard edition of Alan Wake in Game Pass, but then the Ultimate Edition upgrade is like a cheaper upgrade.
How much is
path.
that though? Is it
£30? I think.
That's
which is great. That's
having.
kind of what you'd want. Yeah, that would include the 2 DLCs, some cosmetic stuff. So that would be the original DLC and this one.
Oh, absolutely. Then.
So that
I could see,
that would really work. And actually, if given that Alan Wake 2, I don't think has turned a profit yet, I think they're still recouping the development costs on it. The deal with Annapurna to co-finance Control 2, the release of this premium DLC, which is being really touted as the sort of like return to that survival horror that the original game pushed, and then you do a Game Pass deal, which might then
exactly. Phil, just say how much do you need to get into the black,
and that will be our deal to get it in there.
Exactly.
It's a lean deal for Microsoft, and Remedy make their Doshins back. So, well, I'll stick with my side of the bet. I think Remastered gets added to Game Pass. I'm happy to John lock in your Alan Wake 2 there. That's fine.
Okay, well,
that's great.
It's not up to you.
Well, I think you're fine. I've got the list. Well, speaking of which, there was no segue there. It was really weak. Mike and I are going to be playing some FragPunk this evening. Some mixed views on this, I think, it's fair to say, but definitely something there. I think I don't feel like it's a big old stinker. I don't think it's an absolute winner, but I've got hopes and dreams for this one, and we thought it'd be quite fun to kind of unpack our thoughts on it while showing it live. So we're going to take a brief intermission just to get ourselves set up. We'll be back shortly with some FragPunk playing on Xbox, and we will see you shortly. Back everyone, Mike and I here on System Link, our joint podcast and game stream, playing some FragPunk. Now in closed beta, Xbox and PC exclusive. It's going to be a free-to-play release in 2025. We actually were just talking before we came on air how something that I've acknowledged, and Mike actually, again, we've talked about before, is that I think generally I have quite a low bar for something that for things I need to then enjoy. And that's across TV, film, games. I think I'm quite easily satisfied with a lot of titles like this. You can see, and it will come up in our discussion, I'm sure, that some of these UI elements are scruffy, and there's a lot. I mean, look at this premium currency up here, with no real explanation unless you mouse over them. There's a lot going on here that I think could do with some simplification. But mechanically, I do think there's something here with this, even though I'm not convinced by those other game modes. Mike, the Dual Master mode is now an option.
Okay.
I'd like to give that a go at some point and just see, because I feel
hopefully it will just come up in the rounds.
Yeah.
When this is live for a while, isn't it? I think this beta, because we might.
I'm looking for a match.
If we're streaming on Saturday, possibly we could.
Dedicated Burly Bird Live, maybe. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that works.
So for me, when I played Valorant for the first time, which was possibly on stream, well, it wouldn't quite have been on stream, but the same sort of time, I was competitive. I found it really easy to kind of blend into, whereas this I've struggled to get into it, but you're doing pretty well with it, so I think it must just be me. But there's something about it that, for whatever reason, compared to Valorant, it's just I'm finding it difficult to gel.
Yeah, and that can happen sometimes. It's almost tricky to quantify that. It can sometimes be something intangible. It's feel, and feel is so subjective. They've made a title with certain mechanics that feel a certain way, and if it just doesn't click with you, then, I mean, I felt like that way with No Man's Sky, after having played that now sort of twice. It just eventually got to the point where the way I moved around the world, the way I interacted with things, or certainly some of the text-heavy stuff, I just found really tricky to access. So sometimes it can just be that instinctive thing. You just know in your gut that it doesn't work for you.
I think there's bits. I'm on their Discord, and people have a real issue with the character that can cloak. I don't know if it's only one character, but like you had it last time, you get knifed by someone who was invisible constantly.
The more points invested, the better this card will be.
And people are apparently bunny hopping is also a problem, which I don't think we really came up against. We saw a couple of people doing it in the team deathmatch.
Yeah, not particularly, did we? In this
not
mode.
So much in the rounds. But unlike Valorant, where you basically have to stop before you shoot people, that's not the case in this. So I think it does lend itself to that. a bit.
Yep, I think so too. And that's something, I suppose, which is the point of this. Certainly the things like the over-reliance on bunny hopping can be addressed
Oh, totally. Yeah.
quite easily. And especially that
The shooting
cloaking.
feels good. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just struggling with the time to kill mainly.
Gonna push up. I've gone through B.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, well, we don't know the maps. It's always really important in these shooters to know the maps.
Got one.
By a true
Half
artist.
health though, which is not ideal.
Ah, shit.
Meet
Someone
the
that...
new me.
My normal character is the healing character, but someone took
Oh, I
it.
see. I can hear footsteps, but I'm not. Oh yeah, on me. Yeah.
I'm
boy.
gonna need a bigger canvas.
Nice.
Another one possibly down low here. Ah, so that's what those things are. So I just picked up a shard point
Much better with ammo.
from that gold floating thing. I think I wasn't clocking that the first time. I thought it only dropped health, but it actually has dropped shard points for the cards.
Oh, right, okay.
It's very soft visually, isn't it? Like it doesn't. It just lacks a certain crispness, I think.
Yeah, and some bits look a lot nicer than others. Some bits look
Oh.
good. Ah, shit, behind me.
Yeah.
Right behind me.
Got him.
Were you a big
Well done.
deal
Triple
or
kill.
It was.
something?
I was
That's what I'm
terrible
saying.
though. I should have probably died here. I got very lucky.
Your number
Oh, it's going to show it
is
as well.
higher than
Oh,
their
look. I was all over the place.
Were you a big
Got quite a lot of
deal or
shots. That's about full
something?
health.
Yeah. I didn't hit him
Time to buy some
consistently
beer.
though there either.
Yeah.
Big Manny coming in the chat. I love having these on while I edit. Oh, that's so cool. You got some system link going on while you're doing some editing. That's so cool.
You know, it's just wild what these cards do.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I hope both cards play nice together. Sides reversed. Shard cards really are amazing.
Time to disinfect the hospital beds for new arrivals.
You won't enjoy this. I mean, regret.
Converter required.
I do think, I know a lot of our conversations about these games have kind of centered on differentiation. I think what plays to this game's strength is you're not buying weapons in a menu at the
Yeah,
beginning,
which is a good.
which
a
is good.
change.
And the shard cards,
But
I think, are a nice concept. There's just, I hope that we see some more meaningful ones really come into play. I mean, us swapping sides now obviously is nice to see. I think there's someone here potentially.
Unlike Valorant, where it kind of helps you out even if your team's losing. This, if you're losing, you basically can't buy any cards
Yeah.
or whatever the currency is, which is a real issue.
Oh, you're hungry today,
Guys
little
up top
guy.
here. Ah,
Sing for me.
I've been spotted, I think, because of that. Two up here. I've killed one.
Inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
Defend your team. You're their only hope.
He's round that corner in B on the left.
This is how meteors Thank you, Meteor.
Shot in the pain.
Time for fog lights.
They're possibly there. Yeah. Great work. Well done. Use that smoke to your advantage nicely there. One lucky.
What the fuck was that?
Railgun, I think.
Yeah, keep getting railgunned.
It's all tied up.
Definitely some balance issues, so I don't like the railgun. I think, look, he hit you... Oh, kind of square in the chest. But still, one-shot kill with an ability. That's tough. Struggling with the loading.
Do you have to charge the abilities, or do you have them all at the start?
I think you have them at the start.
Yeah, that's, like if you've got a one-hit kill in your arsenal straight away. Like
And now,
Valorant does that
Your
nicely.
world
Yeah.
changes.
Because you kind of have to charge up the special ones.
Well, also, there's a guy in here that has a rocket launcher that you can just get out and fire at someone
He's
instantly.
pretty good, that guy.
Yeah, that I think there's some balance needed there. So there's a few of the abilities, like the invisible stabbing character, the rocket launcher, and that character with the railgun. So there's that's what a beta's for, though. Those aren't fundamental things that require like a massive delay. That's just.
I'm
you
not.
know,
I'm not sure on the forcing you to change your gun every round. I don't know if that's good or bad.
tough, isn't it? Because it's encouraging you to then use different weapons, but also you then spend less time getting familiar with them.
Yeah.
Oh, dead ahead.
Their life is
Got one.
over, but my art lives forever.
Yeah, my accuracy was horrific
Oh,
there.
I'm a different class. Than that.
Oh, did someone pinch your class?
Meet the new me.
There's one Hank camping on the corner.
Gotta restring first.
They're on
On
the.
the railgun there,
Yeah.
yeah.
Ah, shit.
Fuck.
One there.
Flank. I don't know if there's a flank on.
Just hit it.
Place, huh?
Hit it.
I'm gonna need a bigger canvas.
Another one up there. I've got some damage on him.
Whoa,
He
it's
just backed
so
off.
much better with ammo. Flow state engaged.
What's this thing?
I don't know what this is. Must be some kind of detection thing.
I'm just gonna watch our back.
Yeah.
There's just one enemy left.
It's alright.
I'm an action
Okay.
trainer. A kind of bomb.
Oh, I blew it up.
collage. Symphony.
Didn't think I had
Could've
it
run
in me, did you?
On my left. Oh, he's invisible. Oh,
Still there.
yeah, he's just run off around the corner.
Rather they saw less of me.
I don't like that at all.
They called me a wallflower.
Well, you can't see him at all, can you?
Yeah, I know. Now, he was flickering, but because of the speed with which he could move them with the knife out. Oh, well done.
To be fair, that thing does counter that, but
No
That-
one can stop your team.
it's a really minimal flicker.
Yes, I know. Then the flicker, if you're moving that fast and about to draw a weapon, I think that you need to have, it needs to be more, I basically think you need to be visible again. If you've drawn a
Compared
weapon.
to the finals implementation of it is absolutely fine because you can see them constantly.
Yes.
It's just they're a bit harder to hit basically because they're invisible. But it's pretty rare that it'll be like, oh, I had no idea he was there because he was
Is there anything cards can't do?
invisible.
Ooh, that's a neat couple of cards you got.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was quite a cool character. He had a railgun and that kind of wall that passed through and
Or is that the one you were
Now
using
we
just
just
then?
gotta
triggered
keep the
people.
magic
Shielded,
going.
sorry. Yeah.
You won't enjoy this.
But the railgun I feel is OP and I will generally miss my shot if I'm trying to do that. So.
Big Manny, yes, it's great to listen on the metaphorical and literal second screen. Oh, nice. That's great. I'm always curious when we do stuff like this how people are
They shoot my
consuming it.
face.
So
I
that's
need my hands for
good
art.
feedback. Thank you for that. I'm with you, by the way. Should we go?
Yeah, some stuff I find I try and work and listen to stuff, and I sometimes really struggle. It depends what it is. Like I can't concentrate. Depends what my current task at work
Yeah,
is.
for
as well.
sure. I struggle to listen to podcasts and write articles, like games coverage.
Yeah.
I struggle with that. It's always got to be music for me. But they added the ability for classes to sprint and slide now.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I can.
I can't.
Whether that's my character or not, I don't know. Down the bottom here. Hey, he's mashed me up. He's on half health. He's run around the corner. He's at the bottom of the stairs. I should have called him out quicker. He's really there.
Let's light him up.
Oh, he's invisible again. Fucking.
Smoke and mirrors, as they say.
Does that smoke screen also detect them? Or does it just blind them?
I think.
Only 30 seconds to go.
I think it. Yeah, it will detect. Or it certainly showed me him. I don't know if it detected him.
I can hear them on your right, I think.
Converter is now converting, I guess.
Ah, fuck yeah. Railgun again.
Yeah. Or is that sniper?
Oh, it's sniper. Yeah. Normally I'm crouched.
Woo! Finally, the reason rocketry was invented.
It must be so low.
I found when I used to watch Burly Bird live when I was trying to write or do anything actually, I kept wanting to see. Oh, my game's crashed. Has it?
Relax. You have 20 whole seconds left.
My game might crash.
Oh, okay. I think you can
I
do
don't
a
know. My
redo.
sound is glitching.
10 seconds. Oh,
Oh,
no,
it stopped.
you lost.
No, I just had like constant machine gun sound. I just kept wanting to see whenever you reacted to something and it wasn't on my screen. I kept wanting to switch and see what you'd reacted to. So
Right.
it was
Yeah,
quite,
yeah.
quite unproductive when I was watching.
Oh,
or
that's
listening.
interesting. Then it couldn't be passive then in that case.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea. See, now stuff like that I really like.
2 cards are better
That's a
than
really
one.
original
I mean,
kind of
obviously.
usage of that. So the one on the left, that expose the gadget owner for 2 seconds when their
3
gadget's destroyed.
cards? I guess so.
That's a nice.
Yeah, to be fair, I think the first time I played, I was just struggling to take so much in that I was barely even reading the cards because I was too worried about guns and my classes and things.
We're racing in. Where are we again?
Oh, I've lost my smoke thing now.
Yes, I wish I didn't lose access to guns. I don't like that. I've decided now.
Is it just if you die, you've lost the gun, basically?
Yes.
Got the converter.
Yeah. Well, you should be able to buy it back for shard points or whatever.
Yeah, actually. You have to sacrifice
you know,
them
it's
putting
some sort
money
of
into the
trade-off.
cards.
Yeah. Maybe everyone would just do that though.
And then no one's using the shard cards. Yeah, that's a good one.
War is so much better with ammo.
That's a terrible idea. There's guys here on me. You hear them above?
You got-
Trap placed. Now.
He's low in that corner. He's now reloading.
Not quite with you.
Play true.
Some heals going on there, nice. Sniper on the right. That's a really well-timed shield. I'm gonna plant while that's down. Oh shit! In front. Ah, got grenaded. Editing is just very mind-numbing, so I have to pay attention to it less. Yeah, that's fair enough. Oh yeah, they threw that grenade in my pocket. Oh, nice finish. That was a headshot too, well done.
Do you now?
Weapons.
Get him.
You learn
So-
in the nation.
Cheeky fucker.
We can do better.
Well, I had to take the marksman rifle because I've used all the other guns.
This is how meteors.
And they're bunny hopping now.
Oh, he's jumping here. Yeah,
Time to buy some gear.
yeah, that I generally dislike strongly.
Especially when the movement is slow and there's no sliding or anything, so it's like, why
Is there anything?
encourage
Double the cards, double the fun.
that?
You guys
No, I don't know if they
settle
are
for the way
encouraged. Well,
things are, do ya?
You don't even really need to jump in this, do you?
No,
I don't know why there's even a jump button particularly.
you can maybe like vault over stuff, but then you just press it. You go up to the ledge and do
Heads up,
that.
they're
I
beating
think in
you.
that
Match
instance.
point.
Oh, I've got really shit weapons.
Yep.
You have chosen beauty. Look at my gun.
I have the converter.
Lock and load.
I don't want to go up those stairs again. On that right side, that's a real blind corner
Yeah.
there. Possibly dead ahead. I'm gonna seal this door.
Now you're my hood ornament.
There's definitely at least 2 of them at A.
Okay.
Yeah, here.
Oh, Jesus, one hit killed again.
I'm an action painter.
Oh, terrible.
Please savor these sizzling pyro. Converter. Enjoy
The one hit kills are tough. I get it's, they want the time to kill to be short, but if you can be sniped in the chest or head and be one hit killed, the RPG guy can kill you in one, the railgun guy can kill you in one.
Defeat by
It's
elimination.
it's tough.
Yeah, I wonder how many shots they get, like ammo-wise, or especially with that railgun.
Well, they
Curious to
may
see.
well only get one.
Yeah, but still, that's it's very
Yeah.
powerful.
The single set of
It's not a bullet, is it? It's like it's a thick old laser that, you know, I doubt you have to be quite that accurate with.
I don't feel good about the MVP,
MVP.
especially since I lost.
There you go.
Ah, thanks.
Maybe the thumb down option.
Oh god. Take your time. Oh, that's an
How do the new cards work? Like,
They just get added into the mix, I think. For ones that you can.
as
have
in
stored.
every player in the team, their cards are in the pool that can
I
get
think
picked.
so, because it's showing me the collection of cards.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, their cards are in the pool that can be used. I saw one there which was you essentially swap health bars with the person you're targeting, which is that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, confusing.
I like those sort of bit more extreme ones, actually. I think that the more extreme, the better. I'd like to give that dual master mode a go. Obviously, if it's... Oh, you can't join it when you're in a party. Interesting, it's a solo mode. Okay.
I'll find you a match.
That's interesting. I suppose, yeah, you could easily coordinate, couldn't you? But, yeah, I think the number one on the list is balance. I think graphics are the graphics. If this is just what they've had to do to get it running well on console, then fine. But the UI could do with tidying up. I don't know whether they'd actually do that or not, whether they consider that a priority. But the big thing is class balance, isn't it? It's some of those one-hit kill weapons, the invisible abilities, and the losing your guns. I don't like. Thankfully, the moment to moment, the shooting does actually feel really good, which I'm grateful for. But I do think there are a number of fundamental things that I'd like to see addressed. And I don't feel like they'd be massive issues for them to really make significant improvements with. You know.
Okay, I'm in a shooting range. Guess how much ammo you have for the railgun.
I mean, is it more than 2 shots?
It is more than 2 shots.
Okay, how much do you get?
Infinite ammo.
Oh, so it's on a cooldown.
Not... You just reload it.
Well, you can just keep using it.
No, I think it must be because I'm in the shooting range. It's just... That would be ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
have a look
insane.
in the round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've all got infinite ammo.
That's so I have, by the way, I have turned off crossplay. So that's definitely affecting the matchmaking times because we're obviously relying on just Xbox players. And then
Yeah, it was off last time though, was it?
It was, yeah. I've kept it off.
Yeah.
I didn't think at this stage, when we're still figuring things out, we need to be matched up with mouse and
A
keyboard.
post where old meets new.
Oh, it's not too. You know, a minute or two is fine.
Yeah. Especially since it's closed beta. This is going to be free to play, isn't it?
Pretty sure, yeah. Certainly should be with the amount of premium
Time
currency.
to buy stuff.
Explosive shot looks good.
A relic is in play.
If we can all do
May it
that.
tip the game in your favor. Infuse that
don't...
card with
you
points.
fuckers.
Hit this one, you shit.
I put my poo emoji on it. Was that not enough? It's making me want to pick different weapons, though, to save some machine guns for later.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
So in that sense, I am trying new stuff as a result, but you sort of almost, you want to get comfy, don't you? You want to get cozy.
Beauty. I'll go get my gun.
Yeah. Maybe they're deliberately trying to mix it
Today,
up.
little
It's
gun.
probably okay.
Won't go away.
Can't tell if I get... I think maybe get 3 railgun shots.
Okay. That
It's
still
a
seems
lot.
high for me. If that's 3 hits, that's, you know... Ah! Piddler bot.
Fucking hell, recoil on this.
Someone here coming around the corner, I think. Oh, yeah, on me.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, thank you. Saved my bacon.
Better with ammo.
Catbot's down.
Your flailing was fun to watch.
Footsteps on me. Nice. They were
Railgun,
tagged.
though.
Was that railgun? They were tagged for me
Yeah.
briefly.
Okay. Yeah, so you get 3, I've just confirmed.
Holes anyway.
3 shots. Jesus. But people aren't picking her, so it can't be that good.
That health pickup is pathetic. I got 30 health for that.
Converter planted. Ooh, what
30 more
cards
than I
will
got.
it
Oh,
make?
shit. Okay, so it's at A.
Yeah.
Don't. I could do with our guy not running in, really.
But by himself.
Be nice to wait for us. It's a lot easier when you know where people die from, isn't it?
Yes.
How many of them left?
2.
We favor the sizzling pyrotechnics.
Sneaky,
I'll try and use my shield thing before we go in.
Yeah. He's in this corner. Oh, just, yeah. It's got RPG from the guy in the corner.
Oh, fucking hell. That was just shit by me, but... I shot him a load of times.
They're ahead, but we're not out yet.
Oh, he RPG'd me.
He RPG'd you
Oh,
as
he
well.
RPG'd you. No, he RPG'd you.
Okay.
I should have killed him.
Time to buy some gear.
Reducing cover is an interesting idea. Yeah, I'm liking these slightly more fundamental cards. I think that's nice.
These cards, 2 new rules.
Got headshot damage increase.
You won't enjoy this. I mean... Oh, you're hungry today, little gun.
Kind of want to get through to the midpoint, really. Chance of we can cut them off.
Let's amp.
I can hear them on the other side of this wall.
On me. Got him.
Got the other guy as well.
Ah, fucking RPG'd again.
A kind of bomb.
Killed 2 of us with that RPG.
A kind of bomb collage. I like to make a splash. Gotta restrain first.
Hit. Oh, fuck. There's no mantling. I mean, that's insane.
Reload.
Yeah, I was watching.
I mean, that was a machine gun. He got me that
Oh, really?
quickly from that range. That wasn't a sniper.
How many shots? It looked like 1.
2. It's 2 hits.
2.
He got a
That's
double
me getting
kill with that one
RPG,
RPG as well. That to have that on a button that you spawn with, I don't like. There's definitely massive balance issues with that. That needs to be
Fair enough if they want to change it so it like you kill people during the round and then it powers up like in Valorant. I think is okay, but don't have it unlocked. Because like, why wouldn't I just walk around with a railgun
exactly.
Cool relic.
with my
but,
one-hit kill gun?
Creepy.
Yeah, that's the big focus for me here. Is the balancing.
Yeah.
Let's have that. Oh, I don't want to be this class. I want to be my guitar guy because I know him.
You have chosen
Back to my French
beauty.
one then now.
I'll go get my gun. I hope they shoot my face. I need my hands for heart.
Coming to you.
Apparently there's some sort of sword lunge, knife lunge that you can do, but I just saw that woman doing it.
Oh, no way! I just got mashed. Yes, I think that's
I've got
on
you
when
as
you
well.
get. Yeah, both of us.
Railgun.
Oh, I got killed by a guy with a machine gun.
Oh no, yeah, I was confused. It was, I didn't get the kill cam for some reason.
Oh, I see. Yeah, the what was I gonna say?
The tide always turns.
I
Eventually.
was gonna show us. Damn it. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, being able to just whip that weapon out
Shops open.
is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Whoa, cool cards.
That's
out.
cool.
Rules changed.
Yeah, they're
3 new
all
rules.
interesting
I'm getting
to me.
dizzy.
That I think I really like the sort of. I don't like the sort of passive like earn more star points.
Yeah, or like 5% less recoil.
Yeah, that's boring. I think they need to move away from those. The ones where it's a bit more like this, like fundamental changes, I think is really nice.
You sensed my genius, didn't you? Oh, a fellow artist.
A bit everything grassy.
Kill everybody here, unless it's me.
Time to cure our enemies of life.
People say they're blinded by my beauty. I'd like to hurt them here.
Oh, our converter guy's gone the other way.
Okay.
On his own.
I'm reloading.
I'm with you.
He's dead.
Shit. We're gonna get some people
Bot
here.
thing.
Yeah.
I find that bot really annoying as well.
Hungry
Just not
today,
fun to
little gun.
play against.
I've lost it. It's still alive. Got it.
War is so much
Nicely
better
done.
with ammo.
One guy. There's another one in there.
Yeah. Oh, he's got me. He's half health.
You're their only hope.
Oh, I can't see her. Mm.
Tough time shaking it. Well, that will about wrap it up for the stream this evening. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the latest episode of System Link. We'll be back in, well, Saturday, Burly Bird Live. We'll see what we've got cooking on here. We'll let you know, obviously, in the usual channels. You can follow us at Burly Bird Media on all the various places, Twitter, Facebook, Insta, and Discord. Folks, where can they find you, Mike, from the Xbox Guide?
Yeah, just check out the xboxguide.com. I'll maybe post something on there tomorrow. I haven't thought about yet what yet. I'm just trying to do a bit more content across the week. So check it out. MVP, how did that happen?
Giving that a big old thumbs up. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
See ya.